Color guard, attention. Audience, please rise. Color guard, advance. Please post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in the Scout Oath.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Please join me in the Scout Law.
A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
2. Color guard, return.
My name is Dan Lynch, and I'd like to welcome all of you to the Golden Jubilee celebration, the 50th anniversary of Troop 1970. It's quite a testament to all of you that are here today that this troop has been here to serve the community for 50 years. The troop was founded as Reston was just beginning and has remained for 50 years an important part of the community. The troop serves boys in their teenage years, teaching them outdoor skills, citizenship in the community, and leadership. These skills serve boys for the rest of their lives. It's hard to believe the first 11 or 12-year-old members of the troop in 1967 are over 60 years old today, and have no doubt made many contributions to their communities and workplaces, in no small part to the foundation they received as Boy Scouts. We're here today to celebrate this 50-year anniversary. The United Christian Parish, which has continued to support this troop for 50 years, the many Scouts of Troop 1970, and adult leaders and volunteers that have given their time to this endeavor from 1967 to 2017. Thank you for coming today. Now, we have a couple of community leaders with us today. I'd like to have them come forward. Ken Plum and Catherine Hudgens. Both of these folks are tireless advocates for the Reston community and tireless advocates for groups like this in the community. Ken is our delegate to the state of Virginia. He's also a member of UCP and kind of has a double support for this troop. And Catherine is our supervisor for the 100 Mill District and also a tireless supporter for Reston. Catherine?
Thank you very much. I said I always love to tread on great things that are happening. And when I noted that this was 50 years, it is most often that we would say, oh, we'd like to come to the board. But as I look at the crowd in the room, you all wouldn't have made it all to the board probably. And so on this occasion, I'm excited to present a proclamation passed by the Board of Supervisors recognizing the 50 years of your work. And I'd start by saying how important it is that in the beginning, Reston's beginning was that we were a self-help group. We started things that were not here, and those things helped us all to become committed to who we were, and scouting being such an important piece allowed young people to start learning those values that are values that carry them into time. So I'd like to read the proclamation and present it to you. And it reads, whereas Boy Scout Troop 1970, sponsored by the United Christian Parish in Reston, has served youth in Reston for nearly 50 years, keeping the tradition of traditional yet progressive scouting programs through monthly outings, summer camps, and community service, building skills and creating friendships. And whereas Troop 1970 offers activities and service projects that benefit the community and are anticipated by residents, including the annual pancake breakfast cooked by the Scouts and the annual mulch fundraiser. And whereas members of Troop 1970 learn skills needed for successful adult lives by camping in Annapolis at the U.S. Naval Academy, helping with the Reston Triathlon, adopting a highway and the wilderness survival camp out, among many other things. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, on behalf of all residents of Fairfax County, does hereby proclaim Sunday, July 11th, 2017 as Boy Scout Troop 1970 Day in Reston, and congratulates the troop for nearly 50 years of service and expressions admiration and gratitude for inspiring Reston youth while yielding outstanding and enriching service to the community. And signed by the Chairman Sharon Bulova and myself.
I can't add to what Kathy's already said, other than to take just a moment to congratulate the young men who are currently part of Troop 1970. But at the same time to say congratulations to the older men who were part of Troop 1970 over the years. Our best congratulations to you. There's a statistic running around that of elected officials, 80–90% or so have been in scouting. And I had the pleasure of being in scouting too. Those values that we just recited a few minutes ago are incredibly important values to our community and to our country. Best wishes to all, and look forward to your coming to your next celebration maybe in 10 years.
Excuse me, I have something I'm going to read about the history of scouting. The scouts all know this, of course, but I thought it might be interesting because scouting has only been around for about 100 years, so a little more than 100 years. So this troop has been there for half of the time that scouting has been with us. Scouting goes back to the turn of the 20th century to a British Army officer, Robert Stephenson Smith Baden-Powell. While stationed in India, he discovered that his men did not know basic first aid or the elementary means of surviving the outdoors. Baden-Powell realized he needed to teach his men many frontier skills, so wrote a small handbook called Aids to Scouting, which emphasized resourcefulness, adaptability, and the qualities of leadership that the frontier demanded. After returning from the Boer War in South Africa, Baden-Powell was amazed to find his little handbook had caught the interest of English boys. They were using it to play the game of scouting. Baden-Powell had the vision to see some new possibilities and decided to test his own ideas. In August 1907, he gathered 20 boys, took them to Brownsea Island in a sheltered bay off England's southern coast. They set up a makeshift camp that would come to be their home for the next 12 days. The boys had a great time. They divided into patrols, played games, went on to hikes, learned stalking and pioneering. They learned to cook outdoors without utensils. Scouting began on that island and would sweep the globe in just a few years. The next year, Baden-Powell published his book, Scouting for Boys, and scouting continued to grow. That same year, more than 10,000 Boy Scouts attended a rally held in the Crystal Palace in England. A mere 2 years later, membership in the Boy Scouts had tripled. At about the same time, the needs of scouting were growing in the United States. On a farm in Connecticut, a naturalist and author named Ernest Thompson Seton was organizing a group of boys called the Woodcraft Indians, and Daniel Carter Beard organized the Sons of Daniel Boone. In many ways, the two organizations were similar, but they were not connected. The boys who belonged had never heard of Baden-Powell or of Boy Scouts, and yet the groups were destined to become Boy Scouts. But first, an American businessman had to get lost in the fog in England. Chicago businessman and publisher William D. Boyce was groping his way through the fog when a boy appeared and offered to take him to his destination. When they arrived, Boyce tried to tip the boy, but the boy refused and courteously explained that he was a scout and would not accept payment for a good turn. Intrigued, the publisher questioned the boy and learned more about scouting. He visited Baden-Powell as well and became captured by the idea of scouting. When Boyce boarded the transatlantic steamer for home, he had a suitcase filled with information and ideas. And on February 8, 1910, Boyce incorporated the Boy Scouts of America. The unknown scout who helped him in the fog was never heard from again, but he will never be forgotten. After incorporation of the BSA, a group of public-spirited citizens worked to set up the organization. Seton became the first chief scout of the BSA, and Beard was named the national commissioner. Scouting has grown in the United States from 2,000 Boy Scouts and leaders in 1910 to millions today. From a program for Boy Scouts only, it has spread to include Tiger Cubs, Cub Scouts, Weeblo Scouts, Boy Scouts, Varsity Scouts, and adventurers. With that, we are going to have a little presentation on the history of Troop 1970.
All right, thank you. John? Actually, just get ready, don't hit yet. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Uris Kelly. I'm the current Scoutmaster of Troop 1970 here. And as Dan mentioned, little background on scouting. What a lot of people don't realize, and I've read a couple early books on Lord Baden-Powell, who founded scouting. And what doesn't get published very much these days is, he was a military man his entire career. And so a lot of his sayings that today don't really get reflected in a lot of the writings were very militaristic. One of those that my favorite one, which shouldn't take it out on the current Scoutmaster here, is one of those that he said was, if a Scoutmaster cannot get his meaning across in 2 minutes, he should be shot. So that was common. Remember, the guy was a military guy out in the field, for decades. So he has lots of very interesting quotes like that you don't read in the handbook today. All right. So as was already mentioned, the troop was founded by the my notes. Was founded by the Redeemer Methodist Church in 1967, and then was combined with several other churches in the area to become United Christian Parish. We have a very quick 3-minute slideshow with some pictures that are somewhat in order. Some early ones. Yeah. Boy's Life was $6.
Wow.
At the time. There you go. And yes, we did mulch even back then. So delivered mulch. Summer camp. Made the newspapers. Yeah. Again, that's exactly the way it looks like still to this day, doing mulch. Summer camp 2001. There's a Housley.
Oh yeah.
Here we are. The box turtle. Yeah, 2001. Russ Housley. TP Fire Building. 3 Eagle Scouts. That's presidential inauguration. Matt Housley, Russ Housley. Summer camp again. 100th anniversary of scouting. This was the 100th anniversary celebration downtown. Summer camp picture. Basketry merit badge. This is from this is Philmont.
Yeah.
Here's Lord Baden-Powell. Marketing. And the canoes are being sunk on purpose. Or swamped, I should say. A sea base in Florida. The Yak, yes. Scouting for food. More cones, still doing cones. And this is the new 1970 patch. New York City, mulch. And our new t-shirts. And more community service. That was about a month ago here at UCP. All right, that's about it.
since the troop started, there have been 99 Eagle Scouts. Some of you Eagle Scouts are in the audience. I would actually like to have those Eagle Scouts from 1970, not their parents, just the Scouts, come forward, those that are here. I think maybe 10, 15 are here. And try to, if you can possibly,
Brian Bentley.
Brian Bentley's here.
there they are. Congratulations, guys. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We have plenty of time for fellowship at the end. Catch up with old friends. Now I'd like to recognize some folks. Steve, I think I saw Steve. Steve Webb, I want to please come up. The chartering organization is United Christian Parish. Without them, the troop would not exist. They have been huge supporters of the troop. Steve, come on over, Steve. Steve is our chartering organization representative for many years, as long as I've been around. He is a huge advocate for the troop. 98% of the time, Scouts are great. 2% of the time, you know, something gets broken or something's not going right, and they've always used that as a learning opportunity. Hey, let's learn from this, and not, you know, gotten angry at the troops. So, thank you very much, Steve, for all your support. Could you say a couple words about your support of the troop?
Well, it's been great to be a liaison between the troop and the church. I represent the troop to the church and the church to the troop. And when someone has a question on one side or the other, they often come to me, and I just tell them who else to talk to. So, I don't really have to do that much, but it's important link, because I know the players on both sides. I think I remember close to half the names on that list of Eagle Scouts. So it's been a pleasure to work with both sides on this. Thank you.
For the troop, the person who represents the troop at the committee level is the committee chair. And they work closely with Steve. They kind of guide the direction of the troop, make sure things are going well, I guess you'd say, in the big picture. Is there any former committee chairs? I'd like them to please come forward. I know at least 2 are here. So if you're a committee chair, please come up and please chair, and please introduce yourselves and kind of the period in which you were chair. You're first.
Vic Moravitz, some time ago. Seemed like forever, and it was a great delight.
I am Manju Rao. I was the committee chair from 2012, I believe, towards the end till 2016. I handed it to Mr. Phillips. It's been an absolute pleasure doing this. It's a privilege to see so many boys get to Eagle. I know this is not all about Eagle, but it's great honor to you.
Ted Kirby from 96 to 99. Glad to see you're still doing mulch.
My name's Ted Phillips. I'm the current committee chairman, and I think the best thing about this job is seeing all these young men grow up and mature over time, and seeing them come back and they're taller than I am, and they're good citizens of the community. That's wonderful. That's what scouting is all about. Thank you.
I was the committee chair after Vic and before me. But really the key in the organization is the scoutmaster. I think everyone here knows that. There's a meeting every week, there's an outing every month. There's sometimes other things during the week. The Scoutmaster spends a tremendous amount of time and effort to stay on top of things, get ready for the next event, make sure he has enough assistant Scoutmasters, bring new boys into the troop, make sure kids are progressing. It's a huge task. We've had great Scoutmasters. It's always the question, who's going to be the next Scoutmaster? Because without it, the troop does not go on. So it's so important. And of all the people listed here, the Scoutmaster is really most important. So if you have been the Scoutmaster in Troop 1970, and I know there's at least 4 or 5, please come forward. Who you are and when you were the Scoutmaster.
So I've already introduced myself, Juris Kelly. I've been the Scoutmaster for the last 2 years.
Steve Housley, I don't remember the dates. Served twice as Scoutmaster.
Russ Housley, I started in 2003 and was Scoutmaster for 5 years.
Tom McGlenigan, and it's pretty much a blur. I think it was around 2010 or so.
It was after him and before him.
Thank you. I'm told Drennan McGlenigan was not listed on the Eagle list. I'm not sure how that happened, but maybe we have 100. 100. Sorry about that, Drennan. The assistant Scoutmasters in the troop, usually the ones who, usually one's assigned to every event, every outing. They do a lot of legwork, on the ground work, keep things going, maybe work with the patrols. It's also extremely important that you need 4, 5, 6 assistant Scoutmasters all the time. So if you have served as an assistant Scoutmaster of Troop 1970, can you please come up? If you could start and just say your name, and briefly when the era that you were assistant Scoutmaster.
Mike Blanke, Neolithic era. My son graduated in 2013.
Again, Juris Kelly, Assistant Scoutmaster for, I think it was 4 or 5 years before becoming Scoutmaster.
Doug Williams, current serving for the last 3 years.
Daryl Murdoch, last 7 years.
Nancy Noonan, I don't know, since Jimmy joined the troop. And I do have a uniform, it's hanging on the back of my head. It really is.
We all tried to get her dressed, but it just didn't quite look right. It was a neat thing.
Matthew Housley, 2002 when I got my Eagle on June 11th. I've been the Assistant Scoutmaster for 11 years.
Steve Housley, started in '98.
Russ Housley, I was Assistant Scoutmaster before I was Scoutmaster and for a little while after.
Alex Brody, I was Assistant Scoutmaster before I came in.
Ron Hunter, I was Assistant Scoutmaster and Scoutmaster about 20-something years ago when my son was in scouting. And I recently returned to Troop 1970 a little over 2 years ago as an Assistant Scoutmaster, and I'm still here.
Mike Garnett, I was Assistant Scoutmaster last year, and I guess it's all ahead of me.
ask Steve Housley to come up. We're going to do a special recognition for one of our scouts, Tavon Hubbard. Steve.
Thank you, Dan. Tavon was just exiting the troop when I came in, so my memory of him is vague, but I do remember he was a quiet scout. He hung out in the back of the room with scouts of that era. Andrew Toll, Chris Morris, Josh Farabee. Tavon attended South Lakes High School in Reston, where he played football and ran track. He joined the Marines after graduating from high school in '98. Lance Corporal Hubbard was assigned to the Command Element 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton in California. Tavon was then deployed to Iraq with his unit in June 2004. He was killed in a helicopter crash in Al Anbar Province, Iraq on August 11, 2004, at age 24. Tavon is buried in Arlington National Cemetery.
Thank you for that. Scouts, ready to return the colors?
Audience, please rise. Color guard, retire the colors. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. That ends our program. Thank you so much for coming. It's a great turnout. It's probably more than we expected. We have plenty of food. We did get food for 100 people, so I don't think there's more than 100 people here. But we have food for 100. Please stay, and there's a lot of old friends, old faces. Catch up with everyone. We can maybe spread back out and set up some more tables. We actually have patches. So if you are now or were a member of Troop 1970, please come up and get a patch as a commemoration of this fine event. And I think I would just ask everyone that's here today, whether you're a young scout just starting or whether you're assistant scout, master scout, or former parent, let's all commit to giving some time to scouting. Let's make this troop last for another 50 years. And let's make the 100th anniversary of Troop 1970. It's a great program. It's had a great influence on our community, great influence on the young people that have been involved. So let's make a commitment to keep this going and keep scouting going, keep this troop going. Thank you so much for coming. And they're preparing the food. Actually, let me do one more thing. I did a thank you for the committee, Ron Hunter, who worked so tirelessly on the program, Tom McClennigan, who handled the RSVPs, Karen Canuvan, who prepared the food, Melissa Williams, who arranged the cakes. We have 2 terrific cakes on the side, Tim Crawford, who gathered the 1970 memorabilia, Ted Phillips was the committee chair and really helped spearhead this as well as yours. It was their idea to do this, and I think it's turned out really well. So thank you for coming. Fellowship, friendship, food, catch up with everyone, and thank you very much for attending today.